Hello, and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and welcome back to another video of the crew calling all units. Now, we're going to start out this video with me being the racer in a modified Jeep Wrangler trying to escape from the cops, and what I wanted to give an example of in this video is how quickly it can end if you mess up. If you make a mistake and you mess up, how quickly it can be over. Now, I narrowly escaped right there in the beginning, and then misjudged this corner, went into the rocks, and immediately was under arrest. There was nothing I could do at this point. I had used up both of my abilities, and I was busted. I was done. So we actually decided to start that one over. The guy that was being the cop was cool, and he decided to start the event back over again. And it took a little bit longer this time before I was caught. Still wasn't a super long chase, but it allowed me to get going. So the interesting thing about the routes in calling all units is that all of the routes are very different. You'll start out in these unique areas. Sometimes you'll start out on the beach. Sometimes you'll start out in, like, by the Grand Canyon. Sometimes you'll start in the middle of a city. It just really all depends on what vehicles you're going to use and how the event was actually made and thought out. But that's the thing. You can really tell that these events have been thought out, and they've been thought out really well. And they really lend themselves well to the vehicles that they recommend you start with. So if it's going to be an off-road starting event, then chances are the majority of the event is going to work well for an off-road vehicle. If it's a on-road focused or like a highway focused event, then chances are it's going to work really well, again, for that type of vehicle. Even though the crew is a very wide open game with tons of different terrain types everywhere you go, they still do a really good job of, if you start out as this specific type of vehicle, the rest of the event is going to work properly for that specific type of vehicle. So it's a really nice way that they've really kept the balance of that. And so it's not like you feel like, oh, well, this started out as an off-road event, but we're kind of on a highway now, so I'm screwed, which is never fun. Believe me, that's never fun. So when you get out into the woods, sometimes you can use it to your advantage to get away, or if you hit a tree, that can sometimes cause issues and slow you down quite a bit. We actually, we almost escaped, but didn't really get the chance to, and we got busted. So we actually decided to run this event again with me as the cop now in the Fiat 500 Abarth monster truck cop car. And as I was waiting for the other guy to switch cars, I was like, you know what? This chase is going to be freaking interesting. So it's like a slightly modified Jeep Wrangler against a Fiat 500 monster truck, and I was like, okay, let's get in position. And then he switched over to an off-road spec BMW Z4, and I was like, oh, okay, he's trying to play the game that way, is he? And I completely screwed up right off the bat. I will fully admit that, but you'll see that this actually gives me a chance to use my catch-up ability, which I don't know if I actually used it or not. I don't know if at this point I wasn't too familiar with it. So I don't know if I was actually using it. Actually, no, I didn't use it. I'm surprised at myself. I actually didn't use it. So, anyways, the Fiat 500 Abarth cop car, or as far as the monster truck version goes, is kind of tricky to drive, and it can kind of get into that weird crash moment if you flip it too far over backwards, which can be kind of frustrating, especially if you're really trying to keep up with somebody. And if you're... The thing is, you'll want to watch all the way through this chase, because at the end of this chase, something ridiculous happens. Something absolutely freaking ridiculous happens, and you guys will want to be there to see it. So, anyway, as I was saying before, the nice thing about the off-road races is that, or not really quote-unquote off-road, but like the off-road, more off-road focused cop chases, is that if you start off-road, you will be able to do the route in a monster truck, and you will be able to go through everything in the route in a monster truck. And that's kind of like the charm that the crew has always had to me. It's always a fun game because of that. I'm just taking a shortcut to catch up to him. He knew I was coming. He flashbanged me. I'm trying my hardest to get back up there to him because I EMP'd him, but he's out of range of my other attacks now, like a helicopter and stuff like that. So you could use the catch-up ability, or you could try to catch up yourself in hopes that he crashes. And then you can attack him back with the helicopter, which in an attempt to slow him down, brings him close enough to use the flashbang, or not flashbang. God, why do I keep saying flashbang? EMP shock. He ended up going off the bridge. I tried to follow him, which subsequently ended in me spinning around, really trying to control this freaking thing. And also a member of the crew development team laughing at me at the top of his lungs as he watches me crash off the bridge. But that's okay, because the guys, honestly, on the crew dev team are, like, some of the coolest devs that I've ever met, so they're legit. But, like I was saying before, using the woods to catch up is sometimes a valid strategy, but not quite so much when you hit a tree. It's kind of frustrating when you hit a tree, actually, especially when they take the train tracks. When they take the train tracks, you're like, damn it, that sucks, because of the fact that, honestly, on the train tracks, you don't know where they could go, and I used the catch-up ability and then immediately got flashbanged and flung off the train tracks, so it wasn't really working very well at this point. Things were looking pretty bleak, honestly. So, as we were trying to get back up to it, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should start trying really hard to drive this monster truck not like a monster truck anymore. Maybe I should try to start driving it like, I don't know, a police vehicle. And then when that happened, I was like, you know what? This might actually work. And then I hit another tree. Thankfully, the guy that's the racer was not exactly the best driver, so I was able to catch up to him pretty quickly. Thing is, there were some other games at the event that he demolished me in, so it's okay. So it's okay. When we got back to the crew, I was like, haha, yeah. I remember playing some of the other games, and I was like, oh my god, everybody's beating me because I don't play these very often. And then, oh, I got stuck. I'm stuck. Thankfully, I had a monster truck and I was able to get out of it. But some of these guys were destroying me at some of the other games, and I was like, okay, why don't you come over and play the crew? Not saying that I'm anything good at the crew, like I'm you know, ridiculously good at the crew or anything like that. I'm just better at the crew than, you know, say somebody that never plays it. So I was like, yeah, come on over and play the crew. And so one of them took me up on it, and I was like, oh shit, he's a better driver than I thought he was. And admittedly, the physics in the crew I still have to get used to, and I handicapped myself with the fact that I'm using a monster truck. But when it's all said and done, and when you really think about it, it actually turned out to be super, super fun. And really, that's what the crew always is to me. It's not a simulator. It's super, super fun. And it's one of those games where you're like, I don't give a crap. I just want to have a good time. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to use the catch-up ability at this point. I was like, yeah, screw you and your flashbang. Those flashbangs freaking suck, especially if you're in a monster truck, because you start swerving, and because you try to remember, you know, where that actual turn that you were just in actually went, and you were like, which way did I go? Which way do I go? And then I was like, I had no idea where he was, and so I did a couple of donuts, and I was like, oh, yeah, he was down there, and he saw me before I did the donut, and took off. So at this point, the pressure was on, right? At this point, I was like, okay, I just gotta get to him. I was like, just drive over the freaking van. Drive over the van, get back to him, and all my abilities were kind of dead at this point, and as I was driving over things, the guys on the dev team were laughing at me uncontrollably again, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll keep moving. We'll keep moving. We used our catch-up ability, and as we wait for our other two abilities to recharge, our EMP and our helicopter, we can see he's getting bashed around by that raptor cop. He's close, turns the corner, and is under arrest with very little distance to go. I'll tell you one thing, he was pissed. So, which is honestly a really kind of like, it's a funny way of figuring out like how the dynamics play out in these events sometimes, because they could be so close to getting away, and you can be like, nah, you're mine. You are mine, good sir. So, anyways, that's going to wrap up another episode of The Crew, calling all units. If you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys later. I'm not going to try and blaze through that outro again. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one.